Alright, welcome back everyone. Hopefully you all were able to grab a snack, grab a drink, stretch a little bit with your break. We are going to hop right into our second and final run of our showcase today. I'm really excited for this one. We have MapleSnowgirl running Lenna's Inception. Go ahead and take it away, Maple.
Alright, hello everyone, my name is Maple, or MapleSnowgirl, or Maple Girl, doesn't really matter. This is Lenna's Inception, perfect ending, blind seeded. This is a fun little indie game that's kind of sort of like the older top-down 2D Zeldas, with a very heavy randomizer element to it. Most of the game is randomized. Not all of it, but most of it. And blind seeded is going to be... I have no prior knowledge to what is going to be going on. I'm going to type in a seed and hope that it's something good. The perfect ending means we're going to be doing a bunch of side quests to get special items that we need for all of the boss fights. So we get to see a lot more of the game than the other endings, than you usually do in the other endings. So I'm gonna just hop right on into it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, oh, this is cool. So from that first screen, I can tell what the boss order is going to be. Yes, the boss order is randomized. And... okay, that's a strange starting map, but whatever. The bosses, and thus the dungeon items that we use to defeat said bosses, are always the same for dungeons 1 and 8. However, 2 through 7 are always randomized. Also, dungeons 1, 2, and 3 will be one-phase fights, and then 4 onward will be two-phase. So there are a few bosses that are usually ideal to see in the... You know, I'm gonna grab this war point real quick. There are usually a few bosses that are more ideal to see in the one-phase fight slots, and I did get one of them on this seed. But what was really cool to me is the boss for Dungeon 3 is a very rare one-phase fight. Most of the time, the boss of the dungeon where you get the item to jump is usually a two-phase fight, because jump has to appear after swim. Because otherwise, you would be able to sort of get around areas in the overworld locked behind swim just by jumping. Also, Lance is the guy who just got a refrigerator dropped on him, and I just died in the D1 item room because I was not paying attention to my health. Go me. So not only did Lance the Hero Kid die to 8 fridge and a bunch of slimes, but I did as well. So let's try that again. There's something else that I'm trying to monitor with these slimes as well, and that is how many coins will drop. Because I need 20 coins, so that way I can make a very important purchase that probably will be annoying. We got the Power of Fortitude from Lance, as well as his phone and the sword. We need the sword to cut all of the grass in the overworld, and let's see, can I get 20 coins real quick from all of these bushes? 13. Also, this is pretty good for the overworld, getting a graveyard like this, because one of the side quests is going to be finding overdue library books. Of course, there's a money bag right there. This is Andres the Bear. Defense Tunic, that's pretty good. He might as well be the final boss of speedruns, because he sells a random tunic. And he loves to sell poison and growth tunics a whole lot for some reason. To my knowledge, all of the sort of like tunic RNG stuff from Andres is like even odds. It doesn't always feel that way. When we went to the library, we talked to Paige, the librarian. Yes, the librarian's name is Paige. She's like, yo, can you find a bunch of overdue library books while you're out adventuring? She also programs into our phone the locations on the map for the... Oh, I went too far. Maybe, actually, I'm not sure. Programs into the map on the phone the locations of dungeons 2, 3, and kind of 4. I'll explain a bit more about kind of 4 when we get there. Let's see. Really good thing about the graveyard, though, is some of the tombstones have like an arrow pointing down on them as the design. Those you can push. And sometimes you'll get random items, sometimes there will be cave entrances, sometimes there will just be skeletons, but it's really good for finding overdue library books. So Lenna's going to kind of do a little bit of grave robbing this run, it seems. Alright, let's see. I think I can just go back here and then go over. Because there's this big pool of water earlier. Grab that book. 6 to check. Can you move, please? Thank you. Also, items like books, like also tunics, potions, meteors, so on and so forth, can drop on screens in the overworld when all enemies are defeated. That's why I sort of went out of my way to wipe out that one bat that was on the screen. I'm going to... Okay, that's just the meteor. So that means it's probably right going off of this dungeon layout. Every dungeon number has like a small selection of different layouts that the game can pull from. I don't actually know what layout I got on 3. There's like one that I always know, yeah, that's what it is. And I did not get that one. I think this might be like wheel or something. I don't know. Either wheel or whale. I think that's what it's called. D3 is not my specialty. Alright, now I can jump. That's cool. So, D4. Where's D4 gonna go? Okay, that's actually... That just turned a... Not the strongest pace ever because of me dying in the D1 item room into an actually pretty good pace into the guild. So yeah, D4 is in the Bankers Guild, so we've got to go talk to the chairman. The chairman's a really bad guy. He throws us down into a random spot of D4. Oh, this is a really good layout, actually. We got... I don't know what it's called. I think it might just be called Square. You know what? I'm gonna check this for a book. Because why not? Okay, money. How much money do I have? 76. That's great. The reason why that's so good is because one of the side quest NPCs on the east side of the island, where dungeons 5 through 8 are, will be selling a water potion for 50 coins, and we need water for one of the west side side quest characters. Okay, also I realize this is the... I'm in the 4th dungeon now, and I have not explained the whole shenanigans with the item rooms and the differently colored enemies. So in an item room, where you get, like, the dungeon where 8 Fridge shows up, and... Okay, that's not how I thought it was gonna be. Where 8 Fridge shows up, and then a bunch of enemies drop down. The way that sort of fight typically works is... the enemies that fall will be a different color than they are normally, will have double health, and then depending on what color they are, they will have some sort of special extra additional effect. Like that brown spider, it will explode every couple seconds. There was one, I believe, that was green enemies earlier on. Green enemies are probably the ones that I want to see the least, as they will every few seconds just heal a little bit of health, and that is slow and very annoying. The brown enemies are also a little bit scary to deal with because the explosion hitbox is kind of big and it deals like 2 hearts of damage, I think. And for pretty much the entirety of this run, I'll be having 3 hearts. For the very final boss, you have 4. Honestly, it'd be better if you had 3 for that one, but there's no real getting around it. Alright, now we're to the east side. This is... okay, God Zoologist. That's one of many side quest characters that I will need to find on this side of the island. And now we are in the territory of I have no idea what the boss order is because I never pay attention to what 5 through 7 are. Because, you know, D2 and 3, those are the ones that have the one-phase fights that can be randomized, that are really important. Okay, so this is going to be bombs, because I can see a cracked wall on the right side of that room that gets opened up with bombs. Getting bombs now is really good, because something else about dungeons 4 onward is all of them have an extra secret room. And there is one... each secret room has a special item that will appear in there. And there is... most of those items are pretty much completely useless because they're either, like... to my knowledge, they're just, like, reskin bombs or reskin fish leather shorts, which is the swim item. There is one, however, that I'll definitely be needing to deal with one of the 3 final bosses. So I'll explain a little bit more about that once I find it. Let's see. Okay, here's another NPC that I need, or rather NPC location. Potter and Tunley, they run a potion and tunic shop. They're like, our little sister ran off to do a thing with a suspicious, shady figure about making some sort of combat arena. So now we're gonna have to find the strange cave to sort of start tracking down Tressa. And that's not anything I ever want to see. That is a forest dungeon. Forest dungeons, I was hoping I would not have to explain. Forest dungeons are... they suck. The item in Dungeon 8 is gonna be something very funny. And I promise that everything that I do with said item from Dungeon 8 is intended gameplay. And is not glitches. Fun fact, there's actually only one use of a glitch in this entire run. And it is about halfway through. Let's see. Okay, I can get through here. But forest dungeons, they're very tedious to traverse. And they make backtracking very, very annoying. So you may have noticed I've been going into a dungeon, getting the item room item, and then immediately leaving. There are 2 reasons for this. One of the reasons is, no matter what the ending is, unless it's catastrophe, to my knowledge at least, I don't run catastrophe, admittedly, it's faster to get the items, leave, and then come back once you have the Dungeon 8 item for just faster, what's the word? Movement. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it works. The thing that's annoying about forest dungeons is they're still really, really difficult to traverse, even with the Dungeon 8 item, and I'll explain a little bit more thoroughly once I get that item and you see how it works. Strength. So this is not ideal layout stuff happening there because of warping into the boss room. That dungeon. That's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll see how it works. Alright, let's see. Dungeon 7. Dungeon 6 and Dungeon 7 are usually the ones that are the most temperamental. Also, getting the lighter in this dungeon, without a speed tunic... Why am I fighting that enemy? There's no locked doors. Getting the lighter in Dungeon 7 when there's no speed tunic is really tragic, because the lighter is really cool, and it makes things go new. I thought so. Okay. So, given the way the ice blocks parted there, it made me very, very suspicious that that might be the entrance to the secret room, so I just shot a bomb arrow at the wall, and lo and behold, the secret room was there. That, unfortunately, though, was not the item from a secret room that I was hoping it would be. I need to keep looking, but that's going to make the backtrack to Dungeon 7 significantly faster, which is nice. What's not nice is this map. This is gonna... It looks like we might be in for the long haul in Dungeon 7 here. I guess I'll check this room and then maybe keep going? That red key door there is going to be the door that leads to the boss fight in this dungeon. We're not going to worry about that. Because Lenna has other methods of entering the boss arenas. Ow. I just hit myself with a bomb arrow. Also, break grabs are seriously irritating because they will just dodge attacks unless it's like the axe, which I have not found yet, or an explosion against a wall behind them. Also, this D7 is really bad. I think the lighter's gonna be down here. There we go. About time, game. One skeleton jouster. That's, honestly, that could have been way worse. Alright, so, I just realized also I have not explained yet how, how warping works in this game. So outside of Dungeon 1, there was a bicycle that I picked up. That's the fast travel item. You can warp to pretty much any location that you have entered, so any dungeon, like the library, the Elder's Cave, the school. You can also use it to warp to, oh yeah, another book. The entrance of a dungeon if you have been there. Huh. Or the room directly south of a boss arena, also if you have been there. So I can technically warp to one room south of the boss in Dungeon 7, and Dungeon 6 as well. But I'm probably going to have to do something a little bit different with those. Alright, finally made it here. So this is the lab. Going to push that block, activate an earthquake machine, and fall into into the basement, and I'm going to just lighter dash straight into the hole. Now I need to get rid of these snails to open up that door. And then a quick little puzzle that the lab is always the same. like the layout and the solution to the puzzle. Also, that's Professor Maxwell. He fell into the basement when his assistant turned his earthquake machine against him. Also, he just jumped over a different locked block. So he could have gotten out anytime he wanted. Who knows what's going on there. I am going to exit and then go back in because that sets the warp point. Not doing that, you still won't be able to warp because you didn't actually go through the front door. Also, there's a book always on that bookshelf. There are 16 books in the game. You need to find 12. 4 of them are always in the same spot, and that one is one of them and one of the most convenient. I'm going to actually just go into this cave to set this warp point just in case I need it. Also, I realized that I just completely didn't talk about the guy that we met on the bridge over to the east side, Delvin. So he's not a good guy. We find out that he was Maxwell's lab assistant who dropped Maxwell into the basement. He's also the one who created 8 Fridge, and thus has been sending the kingdom into chaos. So we're gonna have to beat him up later. Okay, well, I know where the boss is now. That's good to know. Oh, that's actually really good. When I come back for the actual boss fight, I will be able to simply warp to that cave that I set the warp point for and then just screen wrap. So, okay, here we go. So, yeah, we're in Dungeon 8 now. I might as well explain the item. We're gonna be getting a pair of glasses that lets the player screen wrap. Everything you see me do with the glasses is intended gameplay. And it's really, really funny. It makes overworld and dungeon traversal pretty easy most of the time. There's still some instances of the game just being mean. Sort of like this room that's filled with skeleton jousters. This is an instance where I'm very happy that I have a defense tunic, because that means I'm taking half damage. And the hitbox on these guys is absolutely massive. Alright, that's green key down, which means the next important item I find will be the glasses. I guess let's go this way? I don't know. Dungeon 8's in one of those moods today, it would appear. But Dungeon 8 is always big. It's very volatile in terms of how much of the actual dungeon you have to go through. Sometimes it's like the item room is like instantaneous. Other times, it's way worse than this, actually. I am going to stick around E8 for just a little bit, so that way I can try to find this secret room. Simply because having the secret room found here will just be pretty advantageous. It would have been a lot more efficient if I had gone the other way, but oh well. Alright. So let's try here and then wrap out of bounds this way. Why did I do that? I knew that the boss was over here. Alright. Hey, Hadasaya. Bye, Hadasaya. So that's Vampire Magician Hadasaya. That's the item room. With a plate. We don't want that. No, don't go down there. Go over here. And I guess that the door is on the other side. So this is the true Lenna's Inception experience. Everything that happened in that Dungeon 8. I would have done the Hadasaya boss fight, but I've not found the woodcutter just yet. And I need the woodcutter for a specific item. So now we're going to the palace. The palace is like the other... The palace is like the most major area that is never randomized in terms of its layout. So it has been thoroughly routed. Also, there is a tunic that is always here. It's a growth tunic. That doesn't really do me much good. Real quick, how many books do I have? 5? Alright, so I can... You know what? I'm gonna grab this one. Okay, 100 bill. That's pretty good. Because I will need 1,000 coins, at a minimum, for a different side quest. Also, I just realized I never commented on a specific item that over the phone after D4, the prince, who has been imprisoned in his own palace, gave us, which is the Power of Compassion. We need the Power of Compassion as well as specific items from side quests in order to spare the bosses instead of kill them. At least the main 8 dungeon bosses, and we need to spare all 8 of them to get perfect ending. That is the other main reason why in perfect ending I'm going through the dungeon, grabbing the dungeon item, and then leaving immediately. So now it's literally just we look for side quest NPCs. So this is a great time for any messages from the host, and here's the strange cave.
Can I just say, first of all, this game is completely breaking my brain. Just watching you screen wrap and all these like artifact-looking things that are everywhere. It's really, really cool, and you're doing an amazing job. Just being able to navigate through all this while still talking about it. It's really, really cool to see. So keep it up.
Thank you. Money bag. I'm just looking at this map and I'm just perplexed. Okay, there's this guy. Grab a water potion. Okay, he's 2 tiles over. Healing. I think I'll stick to the defense. Okay, wait. I don't normally do this, but I want to just make sure I know exactly who I've got. Zoologist, Sass Effect. Traveling Merchant, Strange Cave. I've got to remember that Strange Cave is on the Traveling Merchant tile that's right there. So I need Naked Bear and Woodcutter. And I think that's it on the east side. Might as well talk to the guy. Alright, now he's on the screen with the Strange Cave. That's mildly inconvenient. Okay, here's the Woodcutter. He's gonna give us an axe. He's like, go find a secret. I've been searching my whole life for a secret. There's a secret right there. So he's gonna start popping off and give us a glitch log, which is actually the item that we need to give Hadasaya, to spare her. The item that you give to Hadasaya as well as the boss of... Oh, hey, there's a book there. How did I not notice that before? As well as the boss of Dungeon 1, Azraflail. Those items will always be the same. Let's see. Thank you, Lenna. I just screen wrapped in not the greatest way. Alright, let's... I'm not thrilled... Wait, why am I even looking for books? There's a graveyard on the west side. I just remembered that. Okay, I'm stuck. That's fine, because I need to check this tile. I don't technically need to find the Naked Bear yet. Also, I just realized there's like half of the city that I've not checked. And I accidentally dropped a bomb. That's fine. Alright, let's go... Let's just screen wrap up here, I guess. See if there's anything good. Guess I check 2 tiles down and then go back up. There's Hammy's house. Hammy is an NPC that gives you a hammer if you blow up his door. But the hammer is good but not required, and since I already have the axe, I'm not going to go out of my way for it. If I had found Hammy's house before finding the axe and like still and I had bombs and I was still like going through places, then that would be a different story. Then I probably would go and get that hammer because it is very, very powerful. Okay, here's Thirsty Person. Gonna give them the water potion, and in return they are going to give a paperclip. Now, just making sure... Okay, I've not found anyone else for side quest purposes. So, I need to find the Three Bears house, an office, and a man known as Creepy Jack. And also, I need to find one more book. Also, there should be a phone call from Paige before too long. She usually calls in the most inconvenient times. She will call whenever you reach 8 books. But, to my knowledge, it's a random amount of time every single time. Okay, I'm gonna check these tombstones just in case there's like a tunic or something. Okay, extra book, honestly, that's always handy. That's not handy, though. Oh, that's really not handy. Are you serious, game? Alright, different approach. What is this? Screen wrap here. I guess I'll check the top row. Top row sometimes has characters. Oh, there's Creepy Jack. So, unfortunately, Creepy Jack does not have a warp point set to him, but still finding him is useful. So, it's kind of a win, kinda eh. Let's see. Alright, there's the phone call from Paige. Better now than when I'm in the Three Bears cottage, because... In the Three Bears cottage, I'll actually be using, like, an actual glitch, actual unintended gameplay. And you end up kind of getting the phone call 3 times. If, Paige calls you when you're there, also, that is really annoying. Thank you, game, for putting a cliff face there that Lenna will just fall down. Where are these last 2? This is this whole run has been, like, thoroughly the Lenna's Inception experience. Which I think is great for a showcase like this. Let's see. Bottom row. See if there's any beachfront property. None there. What about the other way? Okay, Three Bears Cottage. So, the Three Bears have called a guard to help, investigate a young blonde woman who has been harassing the Bear family. So, I'm going to screen wrap out of bounds, leave the screen twice. This duplicates Goldilocks. This is the sort of hide-and-seek minigame of Lenna's Inception. There are 3 screens. You have to hide from Goldilocks on each of the 3 screens, and then ambush her in the last room. The game does not check for what screen Goldilocks has left. It only checks for how many times a Goldilocks has left a screen. Meaning, that by duplicating Goldilocks and then all 3 Goldilocks leaving the screen, that counts as Goldilocks having left the screen 3 times. It's very funny. I love the fact that that's, like, used in the speedrun, because it is really, really cool to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's the office. Finally! Let's go here. Alright. Now, screen wrap. Give the paperclip to the office lady so she can be more organized by making a pair of glasses out of the paperclip. She's going to give us a pen. Now I need to go find Creepy Jack so that way he can forge us an illegitimate property deed. Now I need to actually go pick up Paige. So once you find 8 books minimum, you can go to the library, talk to Paige, and she will follow you around. Now I'm going to call Tressa. She's like, the librarian might find me if I talk here, yada yada yada. talk to Paige, and she's like, he's at the guild, the Bankers Guild. So now we're gonna go to the Bankers Guild. Where was that even? Right there. There are too many things. So now this person is like, alright, who are, Tressa's brothers, Potter and Tunley, type those in. Get the phone number for Tressa's mom, call her, she's like, she's gonna be in a dungeon, I hope that she's not, in trouble. Talk to that one skeleton, he's like, yo, give me that illegitimate property deed, doesn't matter if it's legit or not. He gives us a briefcase. And now, got 1,000 coins, how many books? 11? I think it would be actually more efficient to grab this one. Now that we've got 12 books, Paige is like, let's do something special to celebrate. Let's get 10 marshmallows. Marshmallows are the pink slime enemy, by the way. So it's very important to do that. Get the 12 books and talk to Paige about that sort of thing before going to the Strange Cave, and I'll explain that in a moment. Also, you deposit 1,000 coins. Into the bank. The guy's like, okay, cool. You take 999 out, and he's like, okay, cool. Then you try to take the last one, he's like, I'm sorry, you can't take more than that out of your bank account. That's not how it works here. I just mashed too quickly. Where was he? Okay, right above Hammy's house. That's a really irritating location, actually. Also, the traveling merchant has wanted a way of carrying his wares, so we give him the briefcase that the skeleton gave us, and in return he gives us his shirt. I feel like that screen was kind of cursed. Let's go this way. Also, finding the traveling merchant, a total of 4 times, he'll give a special kind of book that we need. So, alright, let's see. Then give the naked bear the shirt, he'll give a claw, give the zoologist a claw, she'll give us binoculars, and I just realized I forgot to go to Andres. The reason why I want to go to Andres is one other thing that is not randomized is the first potion that Andres is selling will always be a healing potion. And I want a healing potion, a few healing potions as sort of like insurance. Now, it's time for the Strange Cave Combat Arena. So the second wave is 4 marshmallows. Since I need 10, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this wave, defeat 3 marshmallows and pick them up, and then leave twice, and now do the arena the whole way. And now, okay, good, that exclamation point tells me that I do indeed have enough marshmallows for Paige's side quest. And this is just a bunch of waves of various enemies, so this is a great time for messages from the host, as not really a whole lot happens here.
Yeah, I'll just restate that you're doing an amazing job, but yeah, I'll give you a little bit of a break while you get through all of these enemies. Just in case you're joining us for the first time and are wondering who we are, Lady Arcaders is an all-women's gaming collective that runs weekly showcases and the occasional charity event. We strive to uplift and encourage women in their gaming endeavors by cultivating a supportive environment in which to showcase their talents. If you're interested in joining the community or getting announcements about our events, you can type !Discord in the chat.
Yeah, I have taken part in many Lady Arcaders events at this point, and I can say from experience that every single time it's been a truly wonderful experience, and shoutouts to everyone in the community for just so many super cool things that happen. Also, this
Absolutely.
this is
We got
not
snails.
this is not the quickest snail wave of all time. The snail wave actually is like the one that takes pretty much the longest, because snails have a very obnoxious amount of HP, and also on top of that, they leave poison trails most of the time. Every once in a while, it's like a random trail that you won't know what it is unless you step in it, and that's dangerous because it can be all sorts of not good things. I'm going to
Oh my goodness.
use a healing potion there because I was starting to get low on health. These guys are pyromelians. We call them lizrobes. They're really annoying, and I realize that they have shown up numerous times in the event, or in the run so far, and I have not actually explained anything about them. They teleport, they breathe fire. They also have a very obnoxious amount of HP, given the fact that they teleport to random locations throughout the room. Also, please. Thank you. Alright, not the quickest strange cave I've ever had. That was a little bit unfortunate, but also I did not have a speed tunic or a strength tunic. So it is what it is. So now, we're doing a campfire. Paige is like, you know what? Let's rest here, let's roast marshmallows. And then she's also like, Lenna, I'm in love with you. So, we've got all the items. Well, -1, because we're gonna get it from Tressa right here. Say no on that prompt, because the prompt is, do you wanna go back to the status effect shop? The answer is absolutely not. Now we've got Hadasaya, vampire magician, this time for real.
For real.
This, also, minor flashing lights warning, for the boss rush. Whenever the bosses take damage, they flicker a little bit, and it's nothing too extreme, but just as a precaution, I want to say a flashing lights warning for the boss rush. This is a fight that is always going to be 2 phases, as Hadasaya is always the boss of the 8th dungeon, as the glasses are always the item of the 8th dungeon. This first phase is really long and kind of annoying, because it's kind of an auto-scroller, even though she only takes 2 hits in the first phase, unlike the usual, like, 3 or more hits, depending on the boss. She takes 2, but it's still, like, the longest first phase. Either that or second longest. I'm not actually sure which is a longer first phase between her and Sandolphin. I honestly forgot which move was coming next, even though it's always the same. Not that it matters. This card trick spinny thing, if you get to where the heart was before she turned them all into cards, like very quickly, then the heart will always be where it was originally. So you want to go there because that's the safe spot. Now we have the second phase. All of the bosses that have 2 phases get sort of like a glitchy form for their second phase, and the music changes into an absolute bop from an absolute bop. So I just realized Paige is still here. I'm gonna have her leave because she can attack by throwing books, and the last thing I want is for her to accidentally kill a boss, because that's really bad if that happens. So there we find out, I don't want to go there. We find out that, like, the game is trying to distract me. We find out for, like, once and for all that, yeah, Delvin's the bad guy. But we kind of already knew that. We also find out that Lenna is actually the mother of the Archangels. And got transformed into a human by Aphridge when, and had her memory wiped when Delvin did his Aphridge stuff. So this is Tentalucius. Okay, got the lineup. So I need to line up the middle stripe of Lenna's sprite with the middle of Tentaluchis for this attack. Normally it works, every once in a while it doesn't. So that just sort of cancels Tentaluchis' attack there. What normally happens is he kind of bounces around the room for like 15 seconds, like one of those old DVD loading screens. But for some reason, just being in the middle column of the room, he just kind of decides to not do that. Also, the item that I got from the secret room was the old revolver. I'll explain that right after I explain the fact that Tentaluchis is just transformed into a UFO and is now shooting glowing orbs of energy that will, after a handful of seconds, turn into bombs that we can pick up. We're not going to actually fight him in this phase because it's a one-hit kill. Throw a bomb into the UFO tractor beam when he starts trying to use it on you. We're not going to do that. We're going to use the power of compassion and give him some sort of item to make him happy and then make him leave. But the old revolver. There we go. So the old revolver, you get one shot. That being said, it, no matter what you use it on, so long as it hits, it is an instant kill. That includes the one of the three, final bosses that is a 4-phase fight and also the hardest fight in the game by a drastic amount. Looking at you, Delvin. Now we're in D7. I realized that it probably would have been more efficient to go to D6 next, because then I think D6 is Dranial. So I would have kept bombs on for that, and I'll explain why when we get there. But this is the Giver of Unwanted Gifts, Sandquill. He also has the quickest second phase of any boss. There are two methods to do this first phase. There's this one, which is a bit slower but a bit safer. You can also sort of like count the number of snowflakes that he generates and then shoot a fireball through them at the right time. I think that's how it works. Alright. So now we're going into the second phase. Alright, second phase over. So, Sandquill is another boss that has a one-hit second phase, and it just so happens that unlike Tentaluchis, you don't have to wait around for freaking forever. Alright, I'm gonna just heal up a little bit. So, this is gonna be a little bit annoying, because... So this is the forest dungeon. I can't just screen wrap willy-nilly in here because, like most dungeons, you probably have noticed that whenever I go out of bounds, I'm just walking around a void. It doesn't work like that in forest dungeons, and that's why I hate them. In those screens, it's instead full of trees, and the trees just so happen to have solid collision and you can't walk through them. Also, Hydranial is the boss of the Strength dungeon. I am going to equip bombs again. Drop a bomb, pick it up, throw it at him to sort of like save a little bit of time and get this sort of sequence going. The reason why that works, at least my vague understanding of it, is you have to throw an item that you picked up at Hydranial to get him to start throwing chunks of his stone body at you to try to attack. If you equip a bomb, drop it, and then pick it back up before it explodes, that counts as an item that you picked up. So it works for the fight, and it's really cool. Now, I believe there's only one more two-phase fight. Oh no, I just realized who it is. Alright, so we've got the scariest fight in the run, probably either scariest or second scariest. I'm not sure which I would say is scarier between a two-phase Krabatin fight or the chairman. If I did not have the revolver, the scariest fight would absolutely be Delvin, but Delvin is going to be completely skipped, which is great. I hate that fight. So, Let's see if I can't find Krabatin first. Of course, he's not going to be somewhere convenient. Also, there's an extra row on the bottom of this dungeon. So I need to be cautious. I know where Krabatin is going to be. There's the buoy. He's gonna be right here. Alright, here we go. So, Krabatin has the most laughably easy first phase. He just sort of moves back and forth like this, opens up his claw, shoot an arrow, and rinse and repeat, and then after both claws he's gonna open his mouth, do that, and then the phase is over. The second phase, though, is when things get dicey. I am going to focus here for a moment, because Krabatin can do little fake outs and move to the side before the edges of the room. And since I don't have a speed tunic, that would be not ideal to get blindsided by. Also, his hitbox on his tackle in the second phase is absolutely massive. Did not matter there because he did a feint directly into me. Alright, let's see. Second claw. There we go. Alright, really good Krabatin. Got good RNG on his side steps.
Awesome.
That fight can snowball out of control to the point where you lose like a minute. It's a rough one. Now we just have one phase fights left. One of them's long, two of them are short. Well, fairly short. This is gonna be Dungeon 3, which means we get to pay the kitty a visit. If I can find the kitty. Wait, what layout is this? Okay, there we go. I don't know what layout. I don't know what layout I got in Dungeon 3, but this is Murder Tabby Cat Seal. She's a big floofy cat with a monitor on her face. Her second phase we're not going to see. She turns into like an old PC, and just sits in the corner, and then you have to, and a joystick will appear in random spots of the room. You have to hit up, up, down, down, left, right, left, and then spare her. But we're not going to be seeing that phase. And one phase Cat Seal is actually pretty nice because you can spare her like at the beginning of the cycle on the third hit instead of like going through the whole thing. It's really nice and really cool. Alright, now D2. This is one that I do need to be paying a bit of attention on, so that way I don't accidentally kill the boss like I did in a run that would have PB'd a few weeks ago. I was not happy when I did that. Fortunately, it was a two-phase fight that I autopiloted on. I haven't autopiloted on a one phase. This is Serpentine Dolphin, Sand Dolphin. This is probably the fight more than any other that you want to see as a one-phase fight because her second phase is the longest by a pretty considerable amount, and it's an auto-scroller bullet hell in the water. Now I need to hit her one more time and then spare. I'm just saying that out loud so I don't autopilot and accidentally kill her like I did in a two-phase fight. There we go. Alright, and then I think we just have Azurflail, and then that's gonna be it. So, where was D1? There we go. Alright. If I had to guess, she's gonna just be straight up. Yep. That's the most common outcome for this layout. Just walked straight into her ball and chain when she's just standing there. Great job, me. This fight goes by pretty quick. She just like keeps picking it up, keeps trying to twirl it. Now she's gonna just pick up the ball and throw it at us, and that's when we can spare her. Give her a nice pair of binoculars that we got from the zoologist. And now these memory tokens are going to combine into the power of truth. So there are four different powers. Power of fortitude, power of compassion, power of wealth, and power of truth. Now we're gonna go to the palace. This is the final boss rush. 3 final bosses all in a row. First we have to get through Edgar and Alan, these skeletons with axes.
Are those their canon names, or?
I believe so, yes.
Nice.
Alright, here we go. Now we got the chairman. Every single one of these final bosses has an absolute banger of a boss theme. So we've got Chairman Mammon / Chairman Gammon, the capitalist pig. This fight is one that stresses me out. So going to skip his first attack, which is Cash Cow, by when he turns red, jumping and having him punch you. Then he's going to do a charge attack across the room, and then he's going to try to play a match of Rich Man's Volley with you, because the only thing that he knows how to do is throw money at his problems. So we just have to do this a bunch of times and hope that I don't end up accidentally dropping the mashing on Rich Man's Volley, because then I don't get the hit on that cycle and I have to do an extra cycle, and it's not fun. So I think, judging from where I'm at in the music, this should be the last cycle. I don't ever bother to count the number of hits that I've gotten. Alright, now I need to be very careful not to hit the button that I have the revolver equipped to, because I get, as I mentioned, one shot, no way to replenish. Grab the power of wealth, suck in all of the items. It is a shame that, like, this fight just gets skipped, because the boss theme for Delvin is so good. And we barely get to hear it. Archangel Delvin, egomaniac. He's like, I'm evil. Lenna's like, I'm gonna make a game cartridge now, and fight's over. Now, I need to make sure that I hit yes on this next prompt. Have to hit yes to blow the dust out of the cartridge. If you hit no, then you get catastrophe ending, and the glitch that 8 Fridge has created takes over the island. Tentaluchus and Azrael show up and are like, no, don't do that, Mom. There's gotta be another way. Lenna punches the game card. And then a debug menu opens up. You go to the Archangel School. That's Lenna's bedroom. You can access it from the first screen of the game when you're still in the school. Where 8 Fridge is her scythe from her Archangel form that we are going to be saying later in this fight. Also, this is probably my favorite track on the OST. We've got 8 Fridge. This is the true fight against 8 Fridge. Absolute chaos. Also, the Elder and Lance, it is possible to spare them in this fight, which brings them back to life. They were both killed right at the start of the game. Need to hit one more arrow. Save to the Elder. Unequip all damaging items. To get past that phase, put the axe on. Now let's see how much of the screen is water in disguise. And also let's see if Lance will get spared. Wow, he took so many extra hits and stopped taking extra hits for no reason on his last heart. Let's go. So, yeah, Lance and the Elder are fine in the end, and now we have to fight the UI. Usually you have to just wait for all of the wall to just get thrown at you, but you can just throw bombs at the item slot eyes and it'll speed that up. And Lenna, I guess oh yeah, that's Lenna's Archangel form, which is really cool. That screen you have to just blow yourself up pretty much. Also, time is when I pull the pizza out of the fridge, which is in like 3 seconds. And time. Sorry about the lack of warning, I always forget about that because that fight is so chaotic.
GG, that was amazing.
Thank you, thank you. That was Lenna's Inception. Perfect ending, blind seated. Honestly, in an event setting, 5340, I am very pleased with that. This ending cutscene is very, very cute. Prince is like, you know what? I hereby decree, no matter how many limbs you have, you can get pizza. Tentaluchis is popping off about that. For some reason, he looks like an egg from behind, which is a tad bit unfortunate. Lance and the Prince are together now, and that's awesome. Paige offers to help Lenna with her school. They're together. The Elder's chilling with the chicken. Everyone's got pizza. It's a happy ending all the way around, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, Lenna's Inception, awesome game. I could not recommend it enough. Few real quick shout-outs. Huge shout-outs to Bin Studio for creating not only this game, but also Cassette Beasts as well, which is another one of my favorite games of all time. Just two absolutely fantastic games, just from start to finish. I've put so many hours into both, and I could not recommend both of them enough. Shoutouts to the Lenna's Inception speedrunning community for being really cool, really supportive, and very, very speedy. Shoutouts to my big sis, Oddly Shaped Bug, for getting me into speedrunning, getting me into this game, and for trying valiantly to find a marathon/event worthy seed to no avail because the game was just that cruel. Every once in a while the game just decides, you know what? No. We're not having fast runs today. Shoutouts to my awesome GF, Amity Moonlight. Love you, love you. Shoutouts to all of my friends at Fast Pace Events for being super, super cool, super, super supportive, and giving me so many really cool opportunities. And shoutouts to the Lady Arcaders community for being really awesome, really cool, really supportive, and for having me on to show off one of my favorite games ever on here on Attract Mode. Real quick shameless plug, you can find me on Twitch, YouTube, and Blue Sky at MapleSnowgirl. I like to speedrun indie games, I like to speedrun Super Monkey Ball games and Sonic, and I like to just play a variety of games. Yeah, I think that is going to be all for me. Once again, thank you so much to Lady Arcaders for having me. This was an absolute blast.
Yeah, thank you for coming and showing this off for us. That was so cool to see, and yeah, I can't wait to see more. All right, thank you so much, everybody. With that will conclude the showcase for today. Thank you so much for stopping by, hanging out with us, seeing a couple of really awesome runs. I just want to say, I think it's really neat. I don't think this was planned, but I think it was. I thought it was neat that both runs had late game bosses that both were called Azra, or had Azra in the name. That was a funny coincidence. Just a couple quick things before we sign off and raid. I mentioned at the top of the stream, but coming up this Thursday, we'll be kicking off our 4-year anniversary raid train, starting with our Thursday Attract Mode showcase, featuring... Oh my gosh, sorry. Featuring a Kitty Cat and her squad challenging the Peak Mountain. Peak runs are always such a good time, really silly and full of surprises, so you won't want to miss that this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, that'll kick off our 4-year anniversary raid train, and there'll be 72 straight hours of streams from the Lady Arcaders community, all sorts of fun things: bingo, randomizers, speedruns, crafting, live streams, cozy streams. If you're into gaming, you will love. You'll find something to love. So definitely !raid train in chat to check out the schedule for that. And with that, yeah, that is the end. Thanks so much to 203 Pup and MapleSnowgirl for those lovely runs. Thank you for tuning in. It was mentioned during the last run, but definitely support your local library with a theme of overdue library books. Hope everyone has an awesome remainder of the weekend. I've been Peek'n'See. I stream occasionally at twitch.tv/Peek'n'SeeSR. And yeah, stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.